We're following up on a case we first told you about last night at 10. In Pulaski County, 3 men are facing charges after allegedly kidnapping an 18-year-old at gunpoint and forcing him to play Russian roulette. Robert William Eller, the man on your screen, and brothers Charles Homan and Jackson Homan were arrested in the alleged incident. A report says the 18-year-old drove to his girlfriend's house on September 20th when he was met by Jackson Homan, who put his arms around the victim's neck and forced him into a car. The report says the 3 suspects then held the victim at gunpoint in the car, threw his phone into a lake, and drove to a house in North Little Rock. The victim was then tied to a chair in the basement and forced to play Russian roulette. The 3 suspects allegedly told the victim to stop dating his girlfriend and leave Little Rock, or else they would kill him and his family. According to the report, Jackson Homan and Ellard have ties to the victim's girlfriend's family. We'll have more details of the investigation on our website, 5newsonline.com. In the Middle East, Israel's military is cutting back on some of its operations in Gaza in order to allow Hamas to locate living hostages and unearth the bodies of those that are dead. Hamas said earlier it agreed to a President Trump proposal, but as Deborah Patta in East Jerusalem reports, there's no ceasefire yet.
This is the closest Israel and Hamas have come to making a deal to end the war since it began nearly 2 years ago.
Everybody was unified in wanting this war to end and seeing peace in the Middle East, and we're very close to achieving that.
Following the qualified response from Hamas, the president told Israel to stop bombing Gaza immediately. The Israel Defense Forces announced it would temporarily halt its offensive, but not all the guns went silent. 20 people were killed and 30 injured, according to rescue workers, after a strike on a home in Gaza City. But still, there was overwhelming relief for most Palestinians that an end may be in sight. This was the first night we felt a little safer, said this man. We've endured death in so many different ways. We are exhausted. Hamas says it is ready to release all the remaining hostages in exchange for Palestinian prisoners and has agreed to surrender governing power in Gaza. But it wants further negotiations on some of the other terms of the proposed deal and made no mention of laying down arms, a key demand. For Israelis whose loved ones are still in Hamas captivity, there is hope, but trust is in short supply.
I'm really trying to be optimistic regarding the news, but over the past 729 days, we've seen so many times that Netanyahu and also the Hamas torpedo agreements.
Deborah Patta, CBS News, East Jerusalem.
The other top story this week, the federal government shutdown, which is now in day 4. On Friday, the Senate once again failed to move forward with a short-term spending bill to fund the government until mid-November. Democrats want more health care funding, including an extension of Affordable Health Care Act tax credits. House Speaker Mike Johnson canceled plans for the chamber to return to the House next week, a move that effectively puts pressure on the Senate to act. The finger-pointing continued this week, with both leaders of each side of the aisle blaming each other for causing the shutdown.
Republicans hold the House, the Senate, and the White House. They're in charge. American people know that. And the American people know that it's only smart and fair and right that they should negotiate with us if they want our votes.
This is the first shutdown of the federal government since 2019. The last shutdown lasted 35 days. Well, back here at home, parts of today's Fort Smith Fall Festival were canceled due to the federal government shutdown. No events took place at the Fort Smith National Historic Site, but the festival still brought the fun to downtown today. People got to see historical reenactments, enjoy food trucks, and get free admission to local museums. Trolley rides through Main Street Fort Smith were also free. And the U.S. government shutdown isn't the only big news taking over in the nation's capital. Citing ongoing arrest and unrest, officials in the Trump administration say federal troops are coming to the Democratic-led cities of Chicago and Portland, Oregon. John Loring reports.
Tensions are swirling around the Windy City. On Friday, the same day Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem made a visit to the Immigration and Customs Enforcement facility near Chicago, you were going to be placed under arrest. Chicago alderperson Jesse Fuentes was taken into custody by ICE agents at an area hospital while demanding to see a warrant for an injured man.
This is not the first incident, you all. What ICE is doing is exercising violence, physical violence on the people of Chicago.
Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson called Fuentes' detainment a, quote, attempt to stoke fear and intimidation. She was later released, but a Homeland Security statement said nearly 30 protesters had tried to break into the area where the detainee was being treated. And Chicago isn't the only city the Trump administration is focusing on.
The president has directed Secretary Hegseth to provide all necessary troops to protect war-ravaged Portland and any ICE facilities under siege from attack by Antifa and other left-wing domestic terrorists.
President Donald Trump is also considering an end to providing financial assistance to Oregon's largest city.
He has directed his team here at the White House to begin reviewing aid that can potentially be cut in Portland. We will not fund states that allow anarchy. There will also be an additional surge of federal resources to Portland immediately.
I'm John Lawrence reporting.
The federal deployment to Oregon is now on hold. Today, a federal judge issued a temporary restraining order that blocks the deployment of National Guard troops. It's unclear at this time if the Trump administration will appeal Saturday's ruling. We've been telling you about the next year's special election that will fill the vacant state Senate seat in the River Valley. Another vacancy has also been certified in the state House. District 70's Representative Carlton Wing resigned last week. That's the district in Pulaski County, which includes parts of North Little Rock and Sherwood. Wing stepped down to take on a new role as executive director of Arkansas PBS. Both the Republican and Democratic parties now have 10 days to decide if they want to hold a special primary or delegate convention to pick a candidate. A special election will be called to fill the seat. Meanwhile, in Little Rock, former Arkansas Governor Asa Hutchinson is back in the capital city as the keynote speaker for the 20th anniversary tribute dinner for the John H. Johnson Museum. The museum is in Arkansas City, where the late entrepreneur and publisher was born. But tonight's celebration was held at the Mosaic Templars Cultural Center. Johnson was the first black entrepreneur on Forbes' wealthiest 400 people in America list. The former governor says his story is not only an Arkansas success story, but a reflection that the American dream can happen to anyone.
The fact that he lived the American dream, coming from poverty, living through the great 1927 flood of the Mississippi River, and then getting an education and having an opportunity and using his creative talents to create one of the great publishing empires.
Johnson died in 2005, and ever since, dinners like this have been taking place to remember his impact and share his story. And the TEDx event returned to Fayetteville today, bringing speakers with fresh ideas to inspire the community. 5 News reporter Laura Castleman spoke with organizers and presenters today who say they're glad to see the event come back after the pandemic pause.
These ideas really can help take root to start wildfires everywhere.
TEDx Fayetteville is all about getting people inspired.
Everybody's talking about things from building a habitat on Mars to navigating healthcare systems to what does it look like to bring a second act about all sorts of different topics. These speakers, most of them were the same speakers invited to deliver their talks in 2020.
The event is finally back after COVID hit.
After the pandemic, we'll be able to just catch even more momentum. We've got a lot of people here today.
TEDx 2025 brings together powerful speakers talking about culture, personal growth, and innovation.
Everybody has a story to share, and everybody's story is important.
Amanda Horn was just one of the guest speakers. Her topic, a toolkit called Grace.
Give up the shoulds, reveal what's true, ask for help, choose one step, and embody the gift.
Horn wants to help others realize we have to live this life together as human beings.
We're not meant to do it alone. And particularly when we are having hard times, it can feel very isolating.
I hope that that people find value in it and can connect.
Trey Lane was another speaker. He focused his talk on space.
So we designed a 3D printable Mars habitat that uses Mars source resources to build a habitat for astronauts to live and work on the surface of Mars.
And he says one takeaway is,
I hope that people find value in it and can connect it to what they're doing and challenges that they're solving in their own lives.
In Fayetteville, covering news where you live, Laura Castleman, 5 News.